What is up? Today I'm going to give you 5 insane tips and tricks to help you win every single fight in Sparking Zero. Make sure to comment down below who is your main in Sparking Zero, who's your favorite character in the game. But before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Now this first tip is going to change your life. So now I know a lot of you are getting caught by this and it's probably getting you so frustrated. Now are you playing the game and it's somebody pulling up on you super fast with the Dragon Dash? Like that? And not only do they get right behind you, breathing on your neck, but then they start to combo you up from behind. Well, now I'm going to give you an insane tip that you can use to counter the Dragon Dash. So when they pull up on you just like this, you can maneuver around them and actually counter their play, getting the upper hand. So if your opponent uses the Z Burst Dragon Dash to get right behind you instantly fast, just like that, and starts whipping you, you can actually sidestep at the perfect moment to maneuver around them and counter it, taking the advantage into your side. Here are some examples of me using the sidestep in the high level rank matches. I'm telling you, sidestepping is so god tier in this game. Boom, did it again. So when your opponent Dragon Dashes towards you, you just want to sidestep to the left or to the right to maneuver around them and counter them immediately. So just like that. Now for me, I'm on PS5, so it is pressing the X button while using left or right to choose your direction or how you want to sidestep. Now keep in mind the timing of this is going to be super important, but I think the more you play and the more you do it, you'll get that timing down even more precisely. Sidestepping can help you with so many things as far as defense goes. Obviously maneuvering around the Dragon Dash, Z Burst, Rushdown, but also playing around other things, like tip number 2. I know for a fact that all of you have experienced this in some of your matches, if not all of your matches. You have a player who just sits and holds their counter the entire time. So their finger will be glued to their perception button and they'll just wait for you to strike them to get a counter off to then open you up for a combo. They'll sit there just like this with their counter up, waiting for you to strike. And just spam it the entire fight. Whenever you rush them, try to get hidden, they're countering again every single time. One major way I love to outplay the counter spammers who are just sitting there holding perception the entire fight is key blasting. Obviously you can key blast them first to give you an opening to then start landing attacks on them. Just like that. Now that's one major way that I love to kind of throw off your opponent, because if they're holding their counter button, the key blast will do damage, so they'll have to switch up a little bit, which will give you an opening to start clapping those cheeks. Now another way too is the sidestep, which is a little callback to the first tip, because if they are holding counter, you can sidestep to get behind them to get around their counter, or even a different angle, because if you punch them at an angle that isn't directly like front facing with where the counter is set up, you'll actually break through and start getting some hits in. So that's another great way to play around the counter spam, which I know we have all faced heavily. Now for tip number 3, this is one thing that sounds obvious, but I see constant players letting this happen every single fight, and that's letting your opponent spark. Okay, if you get a wind of your opponent charging their key up, I know you want to have an epic face-off and let them go full power to see their true might. Stop it, okay? Do not let your opponent get the sparking state. Obviously, there's sometimes you can't help it, where they'll try to, like, get some distance and get it off. But a lot of players, what I'll see is they'll kind of be very lackadaisical with their rushdown tactics. You need to apply that pressure, especially if your opponent's trying very hard to get off a sparking. Now, some characters do have abilities that they can use that gets them sparking immediately, right? Well, not immediately. There is a bit of a animation that happens where they'll say something like, "Oh, it's my time to shine," and they'll get their sparking, right? If they do that, use these tools to counter it. Now, first things first, obviously, you can't go wrong with a simple rush down with that Z Burst. Just rushing straight towards them and breaking their key charge stance. Now, if your opponent's trying to go for sparking, there'll be 2 ways they'll do it. They'll either be charging up, or they'll use an ability that they have that actually lets them go from straight regular neutral to sparking mode, which will normally cost about 3 of their bar. Now I know tip number 3 sounds kind of obvious, but I've seen so many players let their opponent just spark up, and obviously your opponent going sparking mode can change the entire game. Not only obviously is their ultimate now ready to use, but the damage output and their combo chains and like their combo length is way longer. So you really want to stop that at all costs. So not only can you just boom Z Burst straight to them by going into Dragon Rush 2 times, Z Burst, or you can throw some Key Blast their way to stop their charging stance. Keep in mind, the Ki Blast will also stop them from activating their skill that gets them straight to sparking state. So don't be shy with those Ki Blasts, alright? Start blasting. Okay, once you start doing this, you'll notice a huge difference in your matches. You'll get a lot more wins. Don't be afraid to start blasting them with that Ki, to then get in close and apply that pressure. Now, tip number 4, you do not want to deflect super attacks. Now, I do understand it is very cool to deflect a super. Just like this, it does look very cool, but keep in mind, you waste 2 bars of your meter. You see that number in the top left corner of the screen that constantly goes up from 3 to 4 to 5? That is your lifeblood in high-level gameplay. And you don't want to waste it willy-nilly. You need to find other ways to get around super attacks by either just dodging them straight up, or, you know, obviously timing your vanishes perfectly to maneuver around it. Now, obviously, it's freaking Dragon Ball. So to deflect the super, it's awesome. Have fun with the game. But I'm going to give you this tip to make sure you all know the tools you can have to get more wins if you want to, like, obviously take your gameplay to the next level. Now, keep in mind, it is really cool, though. I'm not going to lie. To deflect the super with your bare hands by using your perception, hold it down and waste 2 bars, it does go a long way to look very flashy. But those 2 bars are costly. You can even use those bars to use insane abilities like After Image, Strike, and getting your sparking straight away. The final insane tip to help you win every single fight in Sparking Zero is, if you see Yajirobe, run. I'm joking. On a serious note, the final insane tip is you want to try to not use your R3 counter if you can help it. Now, I do understand if you're in a pinch, right, and your opponent is beating you, whooping you, you do want to drop the R3 counter to push them to shove, just stop it and break the combo down. Now, I understand the appeal of breaking the combo with the R3. It does instantly stop the combo and give you a second to breathe, but it does take 2 of your skill bar, which is very important, so you do want to find a different way to actually stop these combos. Now, the best way to stop the combo is actually your super counter. Just like that. Now, the super counter does not waste any of your skill bar. It just requires you to have really good timing. But once you get that timing down, you will see massive results. Now, if you're on PS5, you'll have to press square and up at the exact same time of impact to super counter your opponent's combo and break their combo so you can get the advantage back on your side. If you're on Xbox, it'll be X and up at the same time. But I hope these 5 insane tips actually help you all become better fighters in Sparking Zero. This game is really intense and so much fun. Just like every fight I have feels so cinematic. The combat actually has a lot more layers to it than people think. The defense aspect of this game is incredible and it's so well thought out. Make sure to comment down below who is your main in Sparking Zero, and also like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.